6:32 will be meeting of the Alstyne City Council. Please come to order. Tonight we have a zoning board adjustment meeting, which will be first. We will start by our invocation. If you will, please stand, and our invocation will be led by Shannon Jackson, who is with the Alstyne Church of Christ. Shannon.
Let's pray together. Gracious Father, we are so thankful for the many blessings that you shower us with each day, for the gifts that you give to us as your children. And Father, we are thankful for the way that you watch over us, the way you protect us. Father, most of all, though, for the love and the compassion that flows from your heart to us each day. We're thankful for the opportunity to be here tonight to discuss the city that we live in, the city that we love, this great community. And Father, I pray tonight that you would be with our city council members and their families, that you would bless them, that you would watch over them, that Father, you would give each member wisdom and discernment in making decisions concerning this community. Father, we pray for those who serve this community through our fire department, our police department, through public works. Father, we're thankful for their service, and we pray that you would bless them and watch over them, that you would be with their families, that you would guide them each day. Father, we pray that you be with us tonight, and that you help us to bring to this meeting a spirit of love, a sense of community, a sense of family. We pray that in all things, Father, you would continue to watch over us and bless us, and that, Father, everything that we say, everything that we do, it would be a reflection of our love and our gratitude to you as we offer to you our lives. And Father, we pray that you would just guide us, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. Ms. Councilwoman Harper, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now our Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. If you're coming in late and you wish to make a remark, the forms are on the front table right there. I want to welcome you to tonight's council meeting. You have nothing to worry about. I told my husband there was a cloud coming up. He said, no problem. The weatherman said it will not rain, and if you saw water on your windshield, it's probably a sprinkler system. Who knows where. We have a zoning board of adjustment meeting. This is a public hearing. We will be conducting a public hearing. This is a public hearing to consider a request by the owner agent of property situated in the city of Van Alstyne, County of Grayson, State of Texas, being described as OTP Van Alstyne Edition, Block 25, north 64 feet of east, 17.65 feet of 17 north, 64 feet of 18 point north, 64 feet of W west, 20 feet of 19. This is more commonly known as 176 East Jefferson Street. This is for a variance to the comprehensive zoning regulation, section 114A.4, height and area regulations, appendix 1, coverage regulation. The owner agent is requesting the variance to reduce the percent of masonry required for the property, which is currently zoned Central Business District. If you do not understand where this is located, this is the one that is in faces an alley, correctly? Where the past mayor's office is, this is directly behind it on the south side of the alley. The alley goes down to the post office. So it is not the corner, but the second lot. And that is where the building we are talking about is located. It does not actually, as far as I know, face a main street, does it? Well, Off-Field Way. Are there any questions or comments regarding this request?
What are they wanting to reduce the percentage masonry to?
Frank, what are they wanting to reduce this percentage of masonry to?
You want to keep it the way it is.
Just leave it like it is right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Third and final call. If you have arrived late, the front table has forms to fill out if you wish to speak this evening. Yes, sir?
The
Please
building-
state your name.
Bert Bedford.
Okay.
I'm the owner of the building. The building does face a fill now, and it is brick except for the opening in the front. The only, it's not brick completely around the back or anything, so that's just a request to leave it the way it is. It's been that way since, I guess, 1970 or 80. Okay, thank you.
Off-Field Lane, does it run all, it runs all, completely the length of the block, is that correct?
That's correct.
And exits on Highway 5
Yes.
on the north side of the post office.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments? Okay.
Why does he need to be here? If he's not doing anything to the building, would he not fall under existing? I mean, if he's adding on to it, wouldn't he then have to meet the current codes, or is it?
No, so it has to go with the current code.
When a building is sold, it has to come up to the current. Where's the parking for this?
Mr. Bedford, where's your parking? Where's your parking located on the structure?
It's the part to the right of the building.
Okay.
So you're on the lot also, beside the building also?
The lot, it goes over to the post office parking lot, and there is places to park on the side and the back.
Can I answer your question? There are the forms on the front table. If you came in late and wish to speak, once again, I will announce the forms are here on the table. Are there any other comments? Then I consider this public hearing closed at 6:40. Item number 5, conduct a public hearing to consider a request by the owner agent of the property situated in the city of Mount Alstyne, County of Grayson, State of Texas, being described as Hines, West Side Addition, Section 3, replat Lot 2, Block 1, Lot 3, acres 1.512, for the variance to the comprehensive zoning regulation, Section 17.4, height and area regulations. The owner agent is requesting the variance to allow for use of the existing residential fencing as well as installing a hedge screen to meet the intent of the ordinance rather than require opaque wood fence or masonry fence. The property is currently zoned commercial to C2. This request is being made by Golden Chick, and the location of it is between Brahms and Shack in the Box. It is open for questions or comments. Is there anyone who wishes to make a question or comment? Am I correct in that it states here that will allow them to use the use of the existing residential fencing that belongs to private property owners?
That's on the opposite side of the easement there.
They want to use that as part of their requirements?
They're requesting to use the hedge screening instead of a fence, is that correct?
To allow for use of the existing residential fencing, as well as installing a hedge screen. Alstyne.
Madam Mayor, there is an existing 6-foot fence behind, along the backside of the property, and the request is to allow that fence to remain and then put a hedge screen in front of it on this side.
The fences are all on private property that belong, is it solid fencing?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone there has a solid
That's an
fence.
existing solid fence, and to provide a little bit better illustration, the fence actually sits on the edge of an easement, and located within that easement is a whole host of utilities, including existing power poles. And so to construct a new or a secondary masonry fence or wood fence would conflict with access to those utilities. So our request is to put in a hedge screen with Texas sage, which will meet the 6-foot high requirement and the 4-foot spacing, combined with Buford holly along the other side. Both of these types of plants are very well-established types of vegetation for this area, and the entire system will be fed by an irrigation system, so it will not require any
Thank you. Are there any questions, or do you need to turn that around for people to see? Are there any questions regarding this request? Questions or comments? Second call for questions or comments regarding this.
I have a question.
Okay.
Will the shrubbery, the bushes, trees, holly, be directly beside the existing fences, or will there be the distance between the residential fencing and your property?
We have to offset the shrubbery by at least 4 to 5 feet to account for root system,
Okay.
as well as we have to put landscaping on the other side to allow for water, or the irrigation system to be installed.
Okay, so it's not going to be directly,
No, and I appreciate what your concern as far as the root system uprooting the fence or something like that. We can't do that. We have to put it a
Okay.
couple feet away.
thank you. Steve has a question.
You said the roots, you're gonna put the trees within 4 foot of the existing fence?
We can adjust it if we need to, but yes, sir, we're
Well, I
trying to
really
stay.
don't need no roots going into the sewer system, because the sewer system runs alongside.
Then we can adjust the location of how far we move it away. We can put it right up to the very edge of the drive-through.
Would you not need that to get your equipment through there?
I can, with the shrubbery, we can actually snake it off the driveway and put it into the manhole. But if they were gonna put a solid fence, we wouldn't have access to it.
Is there any other discussion or questions regarding this subject?
How many feet is the easement?
I believe it's a 10-foot wide easement.
And that is from the back of the fences of the residents that are there to 10 feet out from that? Is that correct?
From the property line, the 10-foot easement, in other words, that easement starts right along the property line and comes to this way.
So the easement is on your property or it's in between?
It's in between.
Okay.
But again, there's a whole host of existing utilities such as sewer and water and power poles.
So are you going to plant these trees on the right of way, or are you going to plant them on your?
We can adjust it. We've left a little bit of space here, but if we need to, we can put it right up and abut it against the drive-through. That's not.
But can they plant trees on the right of way?
We'd probably have them put it on the edge of the easement and leave it on their private property. That way Steve has
So you
clearance.
still have the-
He has clearance to get to the utilities and things like
10
that.
feet of normal width of easement?
Yes.
Are you planning on maintaining, mowing and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, sir.
Up to the fence?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
And these shrubs that you are going to plant will be tall enough, because there's no way that you can say that a person who owns a piece of property is going to keep that fence there, or it's going to be there next year if it's on their property and it's their fence.
Again, the type of vegetation we've selected is conducive to this area, but when planted, because there's issues with the requirement of 4-foot spacing, the Texas sage, we're going to put in a 4-foot spacing, it will grow to 6 to 8 feet tall. So it'll reach the elevation that's required by.
Is this fast growing thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments or questions regarding this? Final call. If there is not, I do declare this public hearing closed at 7:48. Next, we have agenda item number 6. I have council's comments. I have the papers been suggested that we have passed out for comments. And the people that are coming in late, do we have any of them? You know, there are sheets on the front page, front table. I know we have 2 more that have come in and some that have come in later. Thank you for watching. Once again, I will announce, if you have a comment or a discussion that you would like to make for tonight, the forms are on the front table. Number 6, consider and take action regarding a request by the owner agent of the property situated in the city of Van Alstyne, County of Grayson, state of Texas, being described as OTP, Van Alstyne additional block 25, north 64 feet of east, 19.65 feet of 17, north 64 feet of 18, north 64 feet west 20 feet of 19, more commonly known as 176 East Jefferson Street, for a variance to the comprehensive zoning regulations, section 178.4 height and area regulation, appendix coverage regulation. The owner agent is requested the variance to reduce the percentage of masonry required for the property, which is currently zoned Central Business District. I have noticed, Mr. Baker, that this does not say that this is, this address is different from the address that he gave, that it was on a different street, Offield Street, and this lists that it is on 176 East Jefferson Street.
That's what it's currently zoned through our 911 GIS. I believe Mr. Bedford has requested a new address off of Offield Way, but to my knowledge, have you received notification from the GIS that that's been assigned?
Yes, I have. And they did give me a new address.
No. Is there any discussion from council? Councilwoman Tarver? No. Councilman Moore? Councilman White?
No.
Councilman Jennings? Councilman Smith?
The only comment I'd like to make is I would be in favor of granting the variance and letting him leave it the way it is. We have to allow business owners and property owners to create value with their property. Right now, that building, if we required him to bring it up to what the code says and not grant this variance, he would have a building that would not be rentable because he would have too much invested in it to get a return on his investment. If that building was in Plano, it probably, you could do all of this and get your money back on it. There has to be a consideration and a time for business owners and property owners to create a value with their property based on its location. It's not in Frisco, it's not in Plano, it's not in McKinney, it's in Van Alstyne. If you require them to bring it up to code, it's going to be priced as if it were in one of those towns. The fact is, it's not. I would be in favor of granting the request and letting him occupy the building as is.
At this time, is there a motion from the council?
I'll make the motion that we grant the variance.
There's second. Motion by Councilman Smith, second by Councilman Moore. Any further discussion from council? All of those in favor, please raise your hand. It is unanimous. It is passed. Number 7, consider and take action regarding a request by the owner agent of the property situated in the city of Alstyne, County of Grayson, state of Texas, being described as Hines West Side Addition, Section 3, replat Lot 2, Block 1, Lot 3, acres 1.512, for a variance to the comprehensive zoning regulations, Section 17.4, height and area regulations. The owner agent is requesting the variance to allow for use of the existing residential fencing, as well as installing a hedge screen to meet the intent of the ordinance rather than the required opaque wood fence or masonry fence. The property is currently zoned commercial to C2. Do we have any questions, Councilman Smith? Councilman Jennings?
No.
Councilman Place?
I'd just like to say that I think it would be a great thing for us to do to allow them to have this variance, because it would, I think it would look better than the fencing would look. It would allow our people to maintain the property, allow them to maintain the grass and everything there, and it would improve the looks of the area.
Councilman Moore?
I'm in agreement with what Billy said. I also add that the species that you're wanting to put there, I think actually does a better job of buffering the sound, and does a real good job of screening. So I think it's a good effort to meet the ordinance and also allow for accessibility to the right-of-way.
Councilwoman Herman?
I'm in favor of green fencing. It's natural.
Is there a motion regarding this?
I make a motion we allow the variance.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion from council? All those in favor, please raise your hand. It is unanimous. Motion passed. I declare this this public hearing that is followed by the regular agenda non-consent closed. I have a motion for an adjournment? The zoning board of adjustments, I'm sorry. Regular agenda non-consent. Is there a motion that we adjourn this
I
part
make
of
a
the
motion
meeting?
to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor, please raise your hand. It is unanimous. We are adjourned at 6:55. At this time, at 6:56, I call the council meeting of the City Council of Van Alstyne to order. We are meeting at the Grayson County South College. Today is Tuesday, January the 14th. We have had our invocation and the pledge, so we will go to citizens' communication. Since they are specific to the water main, is this to be, when we get to that area? We have no comments, no general comments. The ones that have been filled out are specific to the water rates. Item number 5. This is also a public hearing. It is 6:57. conduct a public hearing regarding a request by the City of Van Alstyne to amend ordinance number 557 zoning ordinance, which may include but is not limited to changing the schedule of uses, adding a definition of for mortuary or funeral home, and fencing regulations. Are there any comments or remarks from the audience regarding this? From council, Councilwoman Tarver? No. Councilman Smith? He's down there. Councilman Moore? Councilman Smith?
No.
Councilman Jennings? Councilman Flake?
What's the fence got to do with it?
I do not know.
Double fencing,
Huh?
the double fencing.
Oh, okay, so that's a separate issue than the mortuary. Okay, good enough. I thought we were trying to fence in the mortuary.
It does state in fencing regulations, which is very confusing. So, does this regard any fencing?
Those are not all different. It's public hearing.
This public hearing does regard the double fencing?
Anybody wants to speak on either issue, mortuary or the double fencing?
Okay, then I want to speak.
This is not very specific. Councilman Flood?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I'm in favor of the double fencing issue. I've heard complaints from a number of people that live in the neighborhood that it's weird, D.R. Horton is the one that started this, and they've sort of randomly done it on some houses. They've put two fences right back to separate the property because they didn't want to get in trouble for making a bad fence, leaving a bad fence. And they've done just, the opposite at other houses. So there isn't any real pattern of knowing why they do what they do. But I am in favor of us doing something about it to where they can't continue to do things that make it difficult on homeowners.
Thank you. Are there any other comments regarding double fencing or adding a definition for mortuary? And what is the recommended definition that we're commenting on? Is there a specific definition?
Was Julie?
Yes.
It's in the packet.
That is, Yes, the ordinance,
Was that agreed
the
for?
definition is for a mortuary or funeral home. The reason for the amendment is to specifically allow cremation services to be performed. And so the new suggested definition is a building or part thereof used for human funeral services. Such building may contain space and facilities for cremation facilities, embalming, and the performance of other services used in preparation of the dead for burial. The performance of autopsies and other surgical procedures, the storage of caskets, funeral urns, and other related supplies, and the storage of funeral vehicles. Where a funeral home is permitted, a funeral chapel shall also be permitted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's difficult to make a comment if you don't know the definition they're talking about. Now, are there any comments or remarks regarding the definition of mortuary or the double fencing regulations? Comments or suggestions? Third and final call. If there are no further comments, then I declare this, I don't have to have everything. I declare this public hearing closed at 7 o'clock. We will go to the consent agenda. Number 6, approval of minutes from the November the 12th, 2013 zoning board of adjustments and the November the 12th, 2013 regular meeting. Are there any questions regarding these minutes? Councilman Smith? Councilman Jennings? Councilman Flake? Councilman Moore? Councilwoman Tarver?
Yeah, in item 10 of the regular city council meeting, the last paragraph in 10, it says, Mayor Salmon announced that the water billing effective January 2031 with begin or will begin?
Will. Are there any other comments?
Well, it says also in that paragraph that the attorney will provide legal direction, and I don't recall ever receiving legal direction on and this was dealing with the filling of the vacancy. Were we ever provided legal direction?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I believe I emailed materials to the mayor. Could have been to Frank.
Well, I'm not sure that I've ever received it.
It says that the concern until the, okay, and you did receive it, you remember receiving that? I remember us, I have asked Mr. Baker, we do remember discussing the fact that there was a legal statement sent that could serve and that a councilman can, after his resignation is accepted, he can serve until he is replaced. I believe that was.
That's the legal direction?
That's
Okay.
the legal direction.
Wasn't there a sheet handed out to us at one of the council meeting before this last one?
Well,
That would have been that same meeting.
November
Yeah, that's
because
right.
it would have been,
Yeah, that's right. That was wrong.
we haven't had a meeting since.
No, we haven't. Okay, so if that is what the legal direction is, then I accept that. And in number 11, it says that Mayor Salmon requested staff obtain answers to the following questions. Does one person serve all of the general law member cities? And if the council nominates someone, does one nomination count, or would other cities have to nominate as well? And I don't recall receiving the answers to those questions.
The answer is, does one person serve all the general law member cities? The answer is yes.
This
As far as-
was on a nomination.
Yeah, that's on that nomination, but I never received the answers in writing or verbally before.
I do not know if that was in the December 10th agenda packet or not. I do know that those positions have now been filled
That's
and
correct.
finalized.
I talked to Jerry Chapman. Jeannie Anderson was nominated for another 2-year term by other municipalities, and she is to serve that term. I didn't quite understand the second question. The council nominates someone, does one nomination count? Or would other cities have to nominate as well? I mean, a nomination was carried to us from the GCUA board. So I guess another city could nominate someone else, just like we had the opportunity to.
Okay.
I think the question was, do we have one vote, or does a city have more than one vote?
One vote is
Each
my
city in the county only has one vote,
Yes, ma'am.
regardless of their
Okay,
size.
because I never did receive those answers, so I was very curious.
The answers were to come at the December meeting, but they've moved on since then.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Then at this time, is there a motion to approve the minutes for the zoning board and the regular meeting with that correction that was made?
I make the motion.
Is there a second? Is there any further discussion from council? All those in favor of the approval, please raise your hand. It is unanimous. Number 7, consider and take any action necessary regarding passage of an ordinance amending ordinance number 557, originally adopted in 1992, the Alstyne zoning ordinance, to add a definition for mortuary or funeral home. Is there any more discussion regarding the definition of mortuary? Councilwoman Turner?
No.
Councilman Warren? Councilman Smith? Councilman Jennings? Councilman Flake? There is no other questions and no more discussion. Is there a motion to this effect?
I make a motion to approve the ordinance. Do we have an ordinance? And the effective date will be today.
This ordinance, effective date will be the date that the caption is published in the newspaper.
So this notation of the date here is just what was passed.
Correct. And then there is, on the bottom, underneath where the city clerk attests to the ordinance, there is a blank paper to write the date it was published in the paper, so anyone who gets a copy of the ordinance can readily be aware of what that particular date was.
Goes into effect.
The date it's in the paper.
The date that it's in the paper. Is just one publication necessary?
Yes.
And that'll be next week.
I typically do it the Friday, this coming Friday, the Friday after the meeting.
I'll make the motion that we approve the ordinance.
The motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And second. Is there any further discussion from council? All those in favor, please raise your hand. It is unanimous. Motion passed. Item number 8 is to hear a presentation from Palladium USA regarding a senior housing project.
Madam Mayor, City Council members, my name is Tom Booth. I'm the President and CEO of Palladium USA. And with me tonight, I've got Joan Maxwell, who is President of our management company, Omnia Management Company. Overrunning the AV equipment over here is Peg Jones. Peg Jones is our Vice President of Finance. And we've got a great presentation for you this evening. So,
Excuse me, could council leave the council table and join the audience so that we may also
so you may
see
want to
your
move on the other
presentation?
side of the
They
table so
want
you can
us
see
to
the
see it.
presentation. Absolutely.
Right here. I'll join you. No, not necessary. Yeah. Right.
Oh, never mind, another bag, so I can see. Could we have the lines here, please? I think it's better. Is that your job? So important.
She's also in charge of light switch.
That's an important job.
Yeah, so, Peg, if you...
I can
do what you're
do.
doing.
This is coming out of your salary, I believe.
Now look, up and down.
You just have to hold it in the center there, Joan. There you go.
There.
Stay right there.
Stay there forever.
Okay, just at the bottom there. You can see that. The one to the right. And then go back one, please. All right, here we go. Madam Mayor, City Council members, we are extremely excited tonight to bring this presentation to you. We've been working for a long time, probably going on 3 months now, working with Bill Benton and Ken Schwimmer on finding what we think anyways, and what they think too, is a perfect site for this development. What we're talking about is a senior living development here in Van Alstyne. With this is kind of a theme that we like. We don't necessarily know without input from everyone as far as what it ultimately will look like, but we like the porte cochere idea as well. Okay. Hey, go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So where is this? So a little bit, right here is kind of the downtown, or not the downtown core, but the core right off 75. Okay, this here is the site, right up here, off Glassingame. And go to the next slide, please. So here's a site plan. Peg, when you focus in on this, we're going to be able to show everyone exactly what we plan on doing here. This is very exciting because with this product type, with this amount of acreage, we can do two things. We can have a very nice entry right here, where the porte-cochere entry is going to be right through here. These buildings here will be 3-story flats, elevator served, interior walkways. Okay? This is also where all the amenities are going to be. Okay? So, Joan, talk about some of the amenities that we put in these developments.
Some of the amenities include, of course, beautiful fitness centers with a lot of aerobic equipment, meeting areas to have classes, events, such as bingo or any kind of church meetings if they want to have Bible study, coffee bars, internet cafes. List goes on and on. It depends on what the community would like to see to give the feedback. And of course, luxury resort-style swimming pools, outdoor barbecue areas, dog parks to walk the dogs and let them play, nice walkways, nice paths for getting out and exercising, walking in a beautiful environment, landscape courtyards, gazebos with oftentimes outdoor televisions, fire pits, quite extensive.
And that's just the beginning. Just wait till she really gets into it, discussing all the amenities we've got. So we've got this building here, 3-story, elevator served, interior corridor. Out here is the pool. We also do something here where we've got, these are individual fourplexes. Okay, these are 1-story fourplexes where you actually can park very close to your unit, okay, your home, and walk right in it. So you've got the opportunity to live in one of these, okay, these come in 1 and 2 bedroom sizes, or if you want to live here, kind of like in the mid-rise tower portion, you can do that too. So we've got many options for you, as well as, like Joan said, there's walking trails throughout here, okay? And this just really takes a little bit of the site, and we have ample room to do dog parks over here, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well, some of the other amenities for it. But this is kind of the concept we're thinking about. This is kind of like a site plan for, we're thinking 2 product types. We're thinking a 3-story elevator served portion as well as 4-plex portion units. Okay? This here is an elevation of a 1-bedroom type here. So we've got 4 units here. These are all 1-bedroom units back to back. Each of them will have their own entrance, of course. And so you'll be able to have your own little patio out here, a little garden if you want to plant some flowers out there. So it's almost like living where you live now. It's just in a closer environment. So you bring in all your friends here to live together. And to me, this is just a very exciting lifestyle.
With someone else doing the maintenance.
With someone else doing the maintenance. Exactly. Okay, Peg? This here is our 2-bedroom floor plan here. The same thing, we got 2-bedroom floor plan. There's 4 per building. Elevation of what those look like. Very exciting. Go ahead, Peg. So as far as number of units, we're thinking this is very fluid. Okay, we're thinking right now 165 total units, of which 125 are affordable and 40 are market rate. So what does this whole affordable and market rate thing mean? Okay, it used to be, you go back 10 years ago, and affordable living was 30% of what you made went towards your housing. Okay, that was it, 30%. Okay, that's affordable. Okay, over the last 10 years, and especially over the last 5 years, and in our portfolio over the last 2 years, our rents have increased 15% over the last 2 years. That is not affordable. Okay, right now it's typical that families are paying over 50% of their income in their housing needs. Okay, what this program does, this program comes in and says, okay, depending on how much money you make, okay, if you make below a certain amount, but above a certain amount, then we will cap your rents at this amount, okay? The great thing about this program and how we do it is we also have market rate units. So that if you make more than that, if you make more than what you're allowed to for the cap rent program, you still live there. Okay, you can still live there and enjoy all the amenities with everyone else. And so we serve both, both economic spectrums with this. We talked about some of the amenities, the porte cochere entrance. This here is the gazebo right here with the sitting area, and Joan likes to do a TV out here. This here is one of the amenity areas right here with tables. Now, we're not going to provide food service, okay? So this is not a food service. This is not a meal served development. Every unit has their own full kitchen, okay? So you can do that for yourself. You guys, everybody can bring their parties in here and do all that, but there will not be a full meal service provided. However, there will be tables, so you can get together and you can play games, you can do puzzles. Okay, you can interact as a community. One of the neat features too is we will have transportation, so there will be an on-site bus, okay, that will take you to, there's a schedule that is done every week, and it will take you to various places to do shopping, to go to run to the doctor and back. It's a very active lifestyle, okay. Fully appointed clubhouse, business center. Joan talked about all of these. I don't know if I can, if she missed any of these. Full perimeter fencing right here. So why do we do full perimeter fencing? Okay, and we do full perimeter fencing because these developments are so nice, these amenities are so nice with the pools, the fitness centers, that if you don't live here, okay, then you're not going to be using these amenities, okay? And the full perimeter fencing is actually to, it kind of sounds kind of strange, but it's actually to keep those out that don't live on the property, okay? Garages would be available. We do garages sometimes we don't. We do carports. One thing we're big on is the exterior. What does this exterior look like? How long is it gonna look great? And what's our philosophy towards it? Our company is 130 years old. We operate in 10 different countries. We've been doing this for a very long time. And the big thing to us is longevity. We want to come back to an asset that we built 60 years ago and still be proud of it. We put a lot of money into the facade. We put a lot of money into those things that keep the property looking nice year after year after year. We've got our own management company on staff, and we'll talk about the management here in a little bit. We spoke of the 1 and 2 bedroom units, 9-foot ceilings. Of course, they've got full stainless steel appliance package or blank appliance package, full-size washer dryer connections. We do patios and balconies. Of course, I have smoke alarms, and they'll be sprinkled for fire code, high-speed internet access, and green practices. Okay, we use energy efficiency appliances and water-conserving fixtures. So, who are the residents? Okay, the residents are those in this room. The residents are our parents, our grandparents. Okay, keep going, Peg. One of the market segments that today, right here, is missing out on a lot are our veterans. Our senior veterans today are having a very hard time finding housing, finding quality housing. It will take about $120,000 a unit to build this. That's very expensive, okay? This here is one of the targets of the population that we strive for, okay? Getting our veterans in here, because this is a need that's unmet today, not only in this area, but throughout the country, okay? These are our residents. Now, it may look like this was enough, but this is not. These are their grandchildren right here. I know that, you know. So I wanted to point that out. So what is age restriction? What does it mean as far as a senior development? They've got two types of senior deals. There can be 55 or 62. Okay, on a 55 senior deal, 80% of the residents have to be 55. One resident, and they do have to be 55. The other occupant could be less than 55. And then you could lease out the other 20% to families or whoever you like, okay? To us, this is not the senior living that we're looking for, okay? What we are going for is 62, okay? You've got to be 62 or older to live here. Everyone that lives in a unit on a lease has to be 62. Madam Mayor, that poses a problem for you. Okay? It's going to take 10 years or so until you're able to live here, okay?
Your
But-
eyesight is failing already.
But believe me though, you know, when you get there, you're going to love it. I guarantee it.
Well, I'm pleased with the 62. I think I'm children at home.
So why an age-restricted apartment home? Okay? There's a lot of seniors that have been renters throughout their life. There's other seniors that have owned a home and it's time to downsize. And there's some other things too that cause us to make a decision to want to live here. Okay? You know, divorce is one of those. The inability to keep making high mortgage payments. Okay? The death of relocation of friends. And this one here is a big one, selling the home to free up equity that can be invested, okay? These are all reasons why age-restricted housing is needed. Desire to be free from home and yard maintenance. We've got an excellent maintenance staff which will keep the property up, will do everything for you, okay? Freedom to travel without to worry about what's happening back to, what's happening with my home. The majority of senior apartment renters do not move further than 5 to 10 miles from their former home or apartment unless relocating and be closer to relatives. Predominance of women among 65 plus population and their lower retirement income. These are all reasons why we need this product. Higher divorce rates, outliving the husbands. This is not necessarily one I like, okay? But outliving husbands resulting in lower retirement income. Unplanned longevity leading to outliving one's financial resources. Okay, these are all reasons why we need this product and why we need it here, okay? The additional amenities, of course, parking convenient to the unit. There's lighting around the parking, plenty of storage. It's one thing that we focus on when we do either traditional family deals or senior deals is the amount of storage that's needed, okay? We've got full 42-inch cabinets. Most deals have 36-inch cabinets. Storage units, safety pull cords, grab bars in the bathroom and tub areas. All these things are standard. Okay. Our experience. Joan, you want to grab this one?
Yes, on the screen. I've personally worked in senior housing dating back from 1999. I know I may look younger, but from 1999, I've done conventional, straight market, high-rise, garden-style, mid-rise, and senior housing. These are 3 projects that I've personally been involved with. I'm challenged here. Parkview is in Frisco, Texas. It's off of the Tollway and Stonebrook Parkway. Beautiful asset. Evergreen in Plano. This one is off of Coit and George Bush. You can actually see it from George Bush. Beautiful deal. Started the lease up and the services here. And this one is in South Dallas, kind of off of I-20. It's in the I-20 area where I-20 and Loop, which I can't remember the loop anymore, that takes you into Dallas. It's right there. This one was actually one of the first ones that I did, and that's the project that started, that we went through all the trials and tribulations of what programs work, what people like. And I can tell you, bar none, that van right there was the most popular amenity on the project, and it was going 24/7, taking residents to medical appointments, grocery shopping, and just outings, going to museums, performing arts. I mean, really a good sense of community was created just for that.
Good, stick with this building.
And right here, we've kind of summed up those activities. I can tell you, that on the calendar of events, there are things every single day in a senior community. And we bring in, you can see health screening is on here. We bring in those professionals in the medical industry to do it on the property most times. And then we can also arrange to take everybody out. But one thing about all the activities, we also engage people in the community. If they're good with arts and crafts, we help them organize to set up that program and let people sign up that live there. And what we actually see happening are, you know, a large majority of the property likes arts and crafts, and that's the big event that happens frequently. Social activities, those activities are put on by us. We you know, can do potluck dinners, we do wine socials, continental breakfast. I mean, there's just so many events, but when we do the events, they're paid for by us. Like I said earlier, Bible studies, entertainment, we bring music in and, you know, teach, you know, have dancing instructors. It just goes on and on. But we told our residents when they move in and find out their interest at move-in so that we know what people want to do. And it really creates a sense of community.
So why Van Alstyne? Do we believe there's a big need within the city for this type of housing? You know, I was told, you know, that Van Alstyne, you know, we want to become, you know, the retirement center of North Texas area. And we want to kind of take that tunnel away from Georgetown. Okay, this is the time to start. Helping all relieve physical needs and home maintenance, we talked about that. Provide an environment to serve the social needs, emotional needs, and financial needs of local seniors. Affordability and quality of life. And the bottom one here, which we can all appreciate, tax revenue for the city. We are a tax-paying entity. We are not tax exempt. We will be paying city taxes and school taxes. We will be paying school taxes even though there won't be any children that live here. Okay, that's a big plus to the school district. So what's the market like out there? Okay, this first line here, these are competitors. These are market rate deals. Okay, the average on Aspen to Twin Creeks, the average rent's almost $1,400 a month. Okay, $1,400 a month as an average rent is high.
Can I interrupt on that,
Absolutely.
Steve? And that is a property that does not offer meal service. If you have meal service, those rates are averaging about $3,000 to $3,500 a month, which is a significant investment.
And so the question is how can we do this? How can we do this in Van Alstyne and not have to pay these market rate rents that I pay? This here is broken down. We look at every comp out there by unit size, by number of bedroom type. The average for the one bedroom is $1.34 a square foot, over $1,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. Okay.
And while you're going through that, I'll also say, there's a huge void here, because to find a really nice place to live, or for your mom or dad to live, you either have to go to Sherman or McKinney and Van Alstyne, or Allen. Those are the first opportunities. There is absolutely nothing in between. It's quality.
Good. This here wraps up the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. The average is $1.18 a square foot. Average effective rent $1,300.24. Okay. So, what's it take to qualify? Okay. Under this program, what's it take? How much can I make and still qualify for the reduced rents? Okay. Number of household members. Okay. If you are a 2-couple family, okay, you can make up to $28,200 a year, okay, and qualify for the reduced rents, okay. If you're 3, okay, let's say that, you know, you're a 2-member family and you've got a sister or brother that qualifies at 62 and above, who also lives there in a two-bedroom, then together you can make this, okay? This here is what the rent is for a one-bedroom under this program, okay? 660 compared to about 1,000 that we saw. Huge difference. And this is the same product, okay? This is exactly the same product. The market rate product that we have here and the product under the cap rent program, they're the same exact units. There's no difference in units. There's no difference in location. Maybe one year a unit is leased out at the market rate price, and the next year it's leased out at the cap rate price here, okay? The two-bedroom cost $793 a month compared to $1,300 that we saw, okay? Go one more. Right here. So this is what we're talking about. This is the market rate, okay? And this is what the rents are under the cap rate program. Huge difference. This is what we're talking about here. Go ahead, Peggy. So how does this happen? Okay. How do we get this here? Okay. This is a very competitive process, okay? In order to get the financing under this program, we've got to beat out all the other deals in this region of Dallas-Fort Worth, okay? In this region, they will fund probably 6 or 7 developments, okay? So we are competing against everything in Dallas, everything in Fort Worth, okay? Everything down in Waxahachie, everything in Ennis. Okay, we are in a competition against everyone, okay? Just because we want this here, just because we say, yes, we need this here, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, okay? We've got a fight in our hand to make sure that it does happen, okay? One of the things that we need from you as a council is your support, okay? We actually need a resolution of support by the council by March 31st, okay? We also need a resolution of financial support, okay? So now I know you're thinking, here it comes, okay, so here comes the big ball it's going to hit, and we're going to need to spend a lot of money on this deal. That's not the case, okay? What we need is a contribution of $57,000 in some form or some fashion, okay? It can be a reduce or eliminate impact fees, reduce or eliminate permit fees, a combination of the two. We could do a 380 property tax abatement. This $57,000 doesn't have to come out all in year one. We could structure this over a 10-year period. There's lots of ways to do this, okay? And believe me, this number here is very little compared to the numbers that if we were in Dallas, if we were in Fort Worth, those numbers would be about 2.2 million. Okay, because this calculation, it's a silly calculation, but it's what we're up against. It's based on the population of the city, okay? It's based on the number of units you want to do, okay? And it's based on how many points you want to get in this criteria, okay? We know that in order to win this deal, we got to score at the very top, okay? So we're going to need the full $57,000. So what are we giving to the city in return? Okay, like I said, we are a tax-paying entity. Okay, we will be paying taxes. This here, zoom in one more, please. This here is an estimate, 165 units. Our estimated development cost is $120,000 a door. That equals almost $20 million. And because we are an income-producing assets, we're valued on the tax rolls based on that approach. Okay, and because of the cap rent part of the program, we estimate it generally comes out to be about 60% of the cost is what we're going to be valued at. Apply our tax rate from the city. This here is an estimate of what the annual property taxes are going to be for the city. This here is what the annual property taxes are going to be for the school district. And for the county over here on the right side. So you see it's less than a 1-year payback. Okay, next slide. What else does new development bring? Okay, we are hoping that the development in the north side of town here, and there's a lot of dirt between where we're located and kind of where the city central is located. Okay, we think this is going to be a catalyst for development on this part of town. Okay, we think with development, it breeds new development, okay? For every 100 units that are built, okay, it adds 7.9 million in local income, because that's the cost of construction, okay? That's how they base these numbers. Okay, it's local taxes, local jobs, and then this here, what's the annual recurring impact? Okay, 2.4 million in local income, 30 local jobs. These are not our figures. These figures are put out by the National Association of Home Builders. So what's our experience? Okay, I mentioned that our company is 130 years old. We operate in 10 countries. We do everything from high-rise, mid-rise, garden, mixed income, loft-style deals. We do everything. We only do residential multifamily. We don't do office. We don't do retail. Okay? This is what we do. We do it all the time. We've been doing it for a long time, and we're very good at it. This here's some of the sample projects that we've done. This deal here is in Los Colinas. This is a loft-style deal. Over here, this deal here is a deal that we bought in 1993. We still own today. And speaking of that, our company is a long-term owner. Okay, we are not a merchant builder. A merchant builder is a developer who builds a development, gets it about 40, 50% leased, and then they sell it. Okay, they're IRR driven. They want to get out. Okay, they want as much for the property as they can. Then the next guy that comes in, paid a very high price for it. Now it's to figure out a way that he can make his return. So how do they do that? A lot of the ways they do that is by deferring maintenance. Okay, doing those things to multifamily projects that we've seen day in and day out, okay, that we don't like. We will hold this asset for, I don't know, Joan says we're going to hold it for over 30 years, 40 years. Okay, I want to hold her to that. So in 30 or 40 years, we're going to come back and we're going to make sure that we still own this asset. That's the length of time, okay, that we will have this asset. Okay, we will own this asset for over 30 years. We will not sell it. Okay, as a company, we have assets that we built in Paris back in the 1800s that we still own today. In fact, this is them there. This development here in Paris was the first development in Europe that had restrooms inside the units. Okay, that worked so well, we've been doing it ever since. Some of the other deals we've done in the States over here and some of the other countries, it's not so important that, you know, that we're large, that we're global. The fact of the matter is that we're long-term owners, okay, and we have a reputation, and we will do everything to keep that reputation where it is, which is at the very top. We put money back into our deals. We just did a $7 million renovation on the high-rise in Dallas that we built in 2000. Okay, that was 13 years ago. Okay, that just shows you what our commitment is to our own portfolio and how we stay committed to each and every deal. As far as the city, we're committed to the cities we go into. We become partners. Okay, we like to do more than one deal in each city. Okay, so I'm hoping we do this deal. Okay, and there's so much need for this, and there's a waiting list for all these units. And I know there's enough dirt up there right now. We talked to Bill and said, let's do another phase. Okay, let's do another phase of this because the need is there. That's what we want to do. This here shows our office locations around the country. Around the world, yeah, I'm sorry. So, Peg. Lady Van Alstyne, back. Okay, changing lives one apartment home at a time. That's what our goal is changing lives. With great product, safe product, in great locations. This is what our goal is each and every time. Questions?
Utilities will be...
Good question. Utilities are actually taken out of the rent. Okay, so what happens is, and it's set by each local area. So let's say the utilities are $40 for electric for a one-bedroom, $60 for a two-bedroom. Okay, that number is taken out of the rent. Okay, so we look at the rents up there. Let's say it's $650. Let's say that you're in a one-bedroom and your utilities are $30. Okay, you take the utilities out of that number and you pay the net rent. Okay, so it's almost like that, you know, it's almost like it's a build pay deal that, you know, that you see, not here, but in some parts of town. Sir?
Are you committing to building all 165 units at the very start? Are you-
Yeah, and does it end up being 165? Does it end up being 145 at this point? We don't know exactly, but yes, they won't be built at the same time.
All units?
But they'll be phased in. Okay, they'll be phased in over a 4-month period.
But you will, during the completion of the project, you will build all at one time, all 160. Your projections are
Yes.
based on 165 units.
Yes.
And also, and have you done projects, how many projects have you done in locales, populated areas, and also, I know you talked about, we had
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
We've got a project under construction right now in Aubrey. So Aubrey is the opposite way on 380, just north of Denton, 150 units there. And the population of Aubrey is, you know, it may be, you know, maybe twice the size of Van Alstyne. Okay, so we're talking, you know, 3,500. Okay, it's the same exact model. Okay, as this.
And that's ongoing, or is it, and do you have any completed projects?
We've got completed projects all over the Metroplex.
Well, at our population size?
At this population size, the one in Aubrey would be the one that gets finished the quickest. Okay, that will be the one to look to next.
Are you already marketing in, and what kind of response are you getting on?
We put the road in, it was finished about 30 days ago. We built vertical in about 30 days. So we will start marketing in 3 months. Okay.
Do you project, all your projections are based on 100% occupancy, or do you start at 70%?
No, we project on about 93%.
93?
You can never be, well, I like to be 100%. Joan says we can never get there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, about 93% is all, you know, the lenders want to write to. But our portfolio as a whole right now is about 95.5%. But you can never really get to 100, Joan, because somebody's always moving out. Okay, so every day you got to make the calculation. Somebody's moving out that day, so they're counting, that unit's counted being vacant. But it's, you know, that 93-95% range.
That's fine. That's very good.
Now, on one of the slides, the one that had the bus, that you helped that, it said at the bottom, these units have been sold. And
Well-
that the units are sold or the complex was sold?
No, it was another owner. We managed it for them, and he sold the project. That, we also do fee management. I was talking about our experience operating them. And that particular owner, he actually retired and sold it to his partner who had other management interests.
Your units, your complexes, well, you always retain ownership.
Yes. Well, we retain ownership for 30 years. Okay, after 30 years, after 30 years, I don't know. Joan's gonna be calling making those shots in 30 years, not me. She's much younger than I am.
Did you not state that the ones at Frisco have sold? Did you say at the start?
No, Frisco hasn't sold. It still
One
hasn't
of them had
sold.
Plano had sold, one of them had sold.
Yes.
On the bottom of that, it said these
Said all
units have been
three.
sold.
Yeah, that's not 30 years ago.
Then that's a typo. Yeah, but also I was talking about our experience in managing, and some of our experiences with third party, other owners.
Management firm?
Yeah, well, other owners, and they hire our management. So our management company manages for our own entities as well as for other developers.
Let's bring the board up. This shows, as a sample, and Joan, you can talk about this. Unit finishes with the granite there.
This is actually for the one in Aubrey. And one thing I want to say about the one in Aubrey, it's not a single property, it's a family property. So, you know, it's going to have a different finish. But the finish outs are very neutral. They're 100% wood flooring, no carpet. We find in today's market, people really don't like carpet at all. But very neutral finishes, beautiful plumbing fixtures, lighting fixtures. And then this is just one sample board. This is actually the common area. This particular property, this is actually the waiting area. It's a real playful design. Like I said, it's a family property. It even has a playroom with little gel tiles in it's kind of like a place to let your kids play while you're working on a computer and moms can see in. But this is the actual vestibule when you enter. From here down, it is the big club room and lounge. This is an accent wall in the offices. It's kind of hard for me to bend over, but kind of working. Right here. Get right there. This is the actual restrooms, the playroom carpet, every detail down to carpet, paint, tiles, everything has to have beautiful finishes that are current and coordinated very, very well. You can see.
The thing too is we make every decision when it comes to everything inside the unit, everything on the exterior of the unit. The architect comes up with their scheme to begin with, but then we take that and we improve upon it.
Yeah, this is the actual kitchen that's located in the club room so that residents can have events and parties and, serve their food inside of the club room. They have a bigger party. But as you can see, it's very well coordinated, and this is not an easy task. I mean, this is meeting on meeting with hundreds of tiles out, and the designers actually hate us because they think they have it all planned, and we come in and fix that. And they basically have to start all over. But when we go through this process, we do this on absolutely every deal we do, whether it's high-rise, mid-rise, senior. But they're always, every single property is different. You're not going to walk onto one of our properties and it looks familiar to any other deal we do. They're all done for that property, for that demographic, and, for its location. And, I mean, we have them in the hill country and they look like the hill country. It just, it depends on each individual deal.
Is, given base construction cost, was that $660 per month for a single bedroom or two bedroom?
That was for a one-bedroom.
Is that a subsidized rate?
Yes, it is.
And yes. What is the qualifications for that subsidization?
That's a good question on qualification. Let's talk about what our qualifying criteria is.
Our overall qualifying criteria is exactly the same. Every single resident's application goes through a criminal database that checks over 600 jurisdictions, including Interpol, FBI's most wanted list. I mean, it's pretty extensive. Rental verification as far as how they pay their rent. They all have to qualify at 2.5 times the rent for their monthly income that's brought in. Credit checks. You actually go through more living in this apartment than you would on a loan. When you buy a house, they're not doing criminal background checks. It's just, can you afford it, and it's going to be the This is pretty extensive, and it goes through a sophisticated software database, and like I said, it's the same on every single one of our projects.
What's your success rate in that qualification? Percentage-wise?
As far as?
100 applicants, how many would be qualifications?
Well, that depends on market. in where it's located, but, you know, I've got a very expensive high-rise right now in Uptown in the design district. And we find that the younger the profile, the more mistakes that are made. And it's got a little bit higher rejection rate, primarily because of poor credit. You know, they spend more than they should out there. Then I have a high-rise and a mid-rise that one of them services an average age group of about 55. The high-rise that I just talked about in Uptown, probably 20% do not make the cut. The project that I have by the Galleria, very sophisticated profile, I would say 95% get in. And then I have one in Plano that probably 78% get in. But they're all in good markets. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I'm also sorry to notify you of this, but when we needed this building, we were on a 9 o'clock
I'm sorry.
time frame to get out. So I'm going to
Time's
have
up.
to ask you to wrap the presentation up so that we have 30 items listed.
I'm so
I
sorry.
think we need to get over the
Okay.
council meeting, but it
We
was
can
a
go on and on and
wonderful
on.
presentation, and we certainly thank you
Thank
for
you,
it. So I
ma'am.
would ask you to
You're welcome. So in conclusion, which is, you know, I'm good at that. Joan tends to talk a lot, okay? So Madam Mayor, I'm glad that you brought this up, otherwise we could be here all night. But you all have our business cards. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us, okay? This is a dialogue that's going back and forth, okay? But just look, you know, just know that we're here for the long term, we've got a great product, and we stand behind the product. Okay? And our management company is the best, and we will evict you if you don't follow the rules, not you. Okay. Thank you.
Holly, I have to admit you.
Which has not been the first time.
It's not mine anyway, it's the lease. Thank you very much for that presentation. I'm very excited about the senior housing project in Alstyne. As we have received our senior designation from the state. We will go to item number 9. Consider and take any action necessary regarding appointing a person to fill a vacancy on the city council place 3 resulting from John Jennings' resignation. Or order a special election to fill vacancy created by John Jennings' resignation. We will take the first hand first. We have 6 applicants, and this is consider and take any action necessary appointing a person for the vacancy on the city council, place 3, for this resignation. Is there any discussion regarding this? Councilman Tarver? No discussion. Okay. Councilman Mower?
I would like to move on to, you're in the first half of this?
Yes.
What does that mean?
That means that I am asking each member of the council if they would like to recommend anyone regarding this vacancy.
Oh, I misunderstood that. I thought it was a discussion.
What you can, it can stay at the discussion stage. Councilman Moore? Councilman Smith? Councilman Jennings? Councilman Clay? Are there any motions regarding filling the vacancy resulting from Mr. Jennings?
I'd like to make a nomination or a motion that we nominate or bring Robert Jaska on as council member to replace John Jennings.
there a second?
I'll second that. This was originally, the motion was made by Billy Blake for Robert Jessica, and I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion by council? Do you have anything you wish to say regarding this, Councilwoman Tarver?
No. Well,
Council?
let me say, yeah, I think that it would be good to get someone who lives locally, and I would like to, I feel that he could do a good job, since I've had time to find out about him, which I didn't know before, so I would like to say that I think he would be a good replacement.
Councilman North? No comment. Councilman Smith? Second. Councilman Slade?
No comment.
Okay. All of those in favor of appointing Robert Jaskin to the Alstyne City Council, please raise your hand. We have 3. Those opposed? Abstain. Abstain. Let it be noted that Councilman Russell Moore has abstained. We have a majority vote. Robert Jaska will be sworn. Is he here tonight? No. We'll have to notify Mr. Jaska that he is our new council member. I do have one question regarding this. This position legally has now been filled, but is it officially filled now or
When he is sworn in.
when he is sworn in? So we do have a new council member. His name is Robert Jaska. Number 10, consider and take any action necessary regarding establishing an extension hardship policy. It did not state this on the agenda, but it also lists a leak adjustment policy. So we will start out with a discussion on this, and I will start out with Councilman Smith. We'll start at the other end.
I don't have comments.
You have no comments on this policy. I would like to, before we go any further, this is number 10. Excuse me, I'll get my paperwork together. There are 3 things on this. This is for the information for the people who are here. I would like for you to know that this is a financial hardship policy that has been drafted by our attorney. This is a leak adjustment policy, which has been drafted by our Department of Public Works Director, Mr. White, and an extension practice by other entities. So at this time, I'm sorry, I think that these should be explained to the audience as to what we are talking about. So this is for,
Could we also,
okay, utilities, and there's also in here, but not listed, a utility payment extension policy. So we have,
That one.
it's on this one page right here.
it was before the other.
Oh, okay, utility payment.
So we actually, this extension, it is the extension practices by other entities, and there is a utility payment extension policy. I know there's a great deal of interest in our water billing, how it is done, and what we are doing. So these are 3 policies. Should these policies be, since it reads that we will take action, I believe these policies should be read to our audience. So at this time, I would like to do so you will know not only what we're discussing, but what we have before us.
Is this first one, that's our present policy?
Yes, sir, that's our current policy.
Okay.
This is our current policy.
Passed and approved by council
And
November
what-
13th, 2012, amended by City Council this past April 9, 2013.
Yeah, oh, okay. Okay, this is our present policy. A request for extensions will not be automatically granted. Request for an extension may be made during regular business hours of the City of Van Alstyne in writing, signed in the presence of and approved by the city manager, city clerk, or utility billing supervisor. Requests must be made before the 26th day of the month. If the 25th day of the month falls on Saturday or Sunday, or on a day when the city office is closed for an official holiday, the request for extension must be made before the close of business on the day before the Saturday, Sunday, or holiday. Verbal, electronic, and/or phone requests can be made no more than twice in a consecutive 12-month period. Number 3, only 4 extensions will be permitted in a consecutive 12-month period. This period does not begin anew at the end of a calendar year, but will be continuous. If a granted extension is not honored and the account not brought current when promised, further extensions will not be granted unless and until the account is brought current and remains current each month and every month for a period of 12 consecutive months. Extensions will not be extended. The city manager retains the right to waive any and all of these guidelines when the city manager determines severe or emergency circumstances exist which warrant waiving the guidelines. That concludes the utility payment extension policy we now have. We also have a payment plan agreement. This form lists the name, account number, street, telephone, cell payment, and payment amount. When you sign it, you state that I fully understand that if I do not pay as agreed, service will be terminated the next day, and a reconnect fee, $50 during business hours and $100 after business hours, will be due in addition to the agreed payment amount before service will be reinstated. All debt will be paid before service is reinstated. This is the payment plan agreement.
And that we already have a question.
Yes, this is in place. This is a financial hardship policy. This is not in place. Introduction. The policy details the utility hardship assistance opinions available to the City of Van Alstyne, Texas utility customers experiencing financial hardship. The policy outlines the standards of the city in relation to managing customer experiencing financial hardship, the right of customers experiencing financial hardship, and the City of Van Alstyne water obligations to customers experiencing financial hardship. The City of Van Alstyne recognizes that there are some customers who do not have the capacity to pay their accounts due to financial hardship. The city's objective is to work with the customer and assist them in arriving at a payment plan. In dealing with the customer, the City of Van Alstyne endeavors to seek information from the customer to determine their financial capacity to pay their account and see if it can offer other assistance. If financial hardship is evident, the city will work with the customer to reach an appropriate solution that will resolve their debt and future accounts with the city utility services. The customer's individual circumstances will assist the city in determining the appropriate assistance options. The definition of a customer's hardship is a customer experiencing financial hardship who desires to pay an account but due to financial difficulties is unable to pay within the time frame set out in the payment term. Customers experiencing financial hardship may be regarded as those who have experienced a sudden change in living circumstances such as ill health, unemployment, separation, a death in the family, a loss arising from an accident, or some other temporary financial difficulty. These customers may require flexibility and temporary assistance, such as an extension of time to pay. Other indications of a hardship include government-issued unemployment compensation, or food stamps, or seniors 65 and older, or Medicaid or supplemental security income, SSI, are on active military duty, including reservists and National Guard, are being discharged from the military in the last 180 days. The exclusion is customers that own multiple properties, commercial customers. Hardship payment plan. To participate in this hardship payment plan, you must make a down payment of 25% of the total charges for the utility bill, including past due and current charges. Some plans may be eligible for an expanded duration of up to 6 months should monthly payments for the past due amount be over $100 when calculated for a 3-month term. And you must remain current with future utility bills and make payments on time. Failure to do so will result in a default of this payment agreement. There is also listed here leak adjustments. And this is in regard to a leak that you may have. Is this enforced presently, or is this is also something that is recommended? Leak adjustments. The city of Van Alstyne provides a leak adjustment when a customer has experienced a hidden or concealed water leak occurring on their property. This policy does not apply to wastewater or sewer leaks. An adjustment may be granted in case where the leak causes a substantial or material increase in the water consumption. The adjustment period may be extended up to a maximum of 3 months, and only one adjustment is made in a 12-month period. The customer is required to submit a statement of repairs that include the following: date repairs were completed, address of property, water utilities account number, brief description of the repairs, and a contact phone number. The water usage is typically reviewed after the first full billing cycle following the repair data. This review may include the usage in the first billing cycle after the repairs, the same billing month in the previous year, or an average usage of 3 previous months prior to the leak. The process typically takes 60 to 90 days, depending on the repair date and the billing dates impacted. However, the customer is required to continue to make regular monthly payments during this period. Repair statements or correspondence may be mailed, delivered, faxed, or emailed to the following. Customer will receive a response via mail or email upon receipt of leak documentation. The addresses are given. How is the adjustment calculated? The average usage is determined by reviewing account history. The average usage costs are calculated according to the applicable rates. Excess usage, all usage above the average, is then calculated at the lowest rate of the current rate scale. Overages will always be credited to current or future bill, no checks issued, and no refunds. These are the items that are being considered on Agenda 10. I do have 2 forms that have been filled out pertaining to the water. I do not know, because this does not have on here, if there is any other thing that you wish to if this is what you wish to discuss, Kurt Brainer, you did not put down which number. Is it this one, or is it number 13 regarding utility rates established by ordinance number 699?
I didn't have ordinance 699, so basically, dealing with I was dealing with leaks, sewer and water rates, so it could be one or both. I'm not sure exactly what item 13 down.
Right now, okay, what I will do is, since you've got down sewer rates, water rates, and water payment, I will allow you to speak at both times.
Thank you.
So the first thing that we are going to discuss now are these policies.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
You're ready to give
You
me
have,
Yes, ma'am.
you have
I've got some handouts here actually to go along based off of some of your workshop numbers. I think there's a couple short, there's a couple more people here than I expected. But basically the first one there is a policy letter, a suggested policy letter, because there wasn't anything written in policy earlier this summer when I did have a leak, so that's where that came in, and finally they see if there's something that's going along. But first sheet after the policy, or the proposal sheet, that I have the face cover sheet, I've got an item that looks like a workshop piece that you would have gone over. Basically what it does is summarizes the pay rates in general from September 1st payment 2012, just before the October 1st pay rate increase, and it compares it to the present one, and that would be the lower column. Basically, what you're over a 13-month period here in Van Alstyne, with the 5/8 and 3/4 inch piping, my calculations are that based off of the flat rate and the water and sewage rates, from 5,000 to 60,000 gallon usage, a homeowner or patron there would have an increased bill of 31 to 172% where they file in, which is pretty extreme pay rate, or pay increase. And that was from that 13-month period. If you just go from the present billing to the October 12th, it still goes from an 80% to a 93% increase. So
right now, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we are on the policies that I have stated to you.
well, I was trying to bring up, okay, you just want the actual water billing. The leak. I can discuss the leak. I can do that one a little on. You look at the policy, the water management proposals list that I put down there.
Okay.
It discusses just a suggestion there for leakage, that there was no sound water leak policy, and basically you made an adjustment there looking at an average, and that was something along these same lines, using an average to take a look at what the usage was. But I'm suggesting that instead of the lowest rate cost, that anything above the leakage, so the city doesn't incur any debt, but it be adjusted to the city's cost, so they don't lose anything, but to get a maximum break to the patron. And something that doesn't get addressed in your particular proposal, it doesn't address sewage. Short of a water leakage or a running toilet, all leakage is going to go something other than the sewer system. So I think it's very, very bad business and unfair to the patron to charge them a sewer rate for something excessive and not reduce it. So I would suggest in that leak coverage policy that the sewer charges get dropped, but that kind of goes into the whole rate thing. Basically, in that further proposals, based off of regional, if not national business practices, all sewer charges are capped at basically an average monthly winter rate, so our usage. So if that's the case, you know, it should be, and you can look at your numbers, that would come around 8,000 gallons. But even if you used it at the North Texas regional rates of 9,000 to 12,000 gallons. If you cut it off at that, you could make an adjustment for the cap on that. And that leak rate doesn't take in consideration any sewage costs, which actually are very extreme. I can discuss the other stuff under the rates.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, council, I'm going to start over again on this item number 10, and this is establishing not only the financial hardship policy, the lease adjustment policy, and the extension practices. And I think what we will do at this time is we are going to take, we will not do this multiple, we will do them one at a time. The financial hardship policy. We have,
Mayor, just a question.
okay,
It doesn't say anything about leak adjustments in the agenda item.
It says-
Establishing an extension hardship policy. It doesn't say anything about establishing a leak adjustment policy. Can't be.
That creates a hardship, though.
well, under attachments, the file description does list all three.
I just
However,
wanna know-
you're going by what the agenda states, is that, do I have that correct?
I just don't want to take an action that we can't address tonight because it's not listed specifically in the agenda.
Okay, that is correct.
I think Councilmember Tover's assessment that if you have a leak that creates an extremely high water bill, that would be.
That is a hardship.
Okay.
But it is a separate policy.
I think it should all be incorporated into one.
Well, I agree. I just want to be sure that we're doing this right.
Okay. Even though they will all be incorporated in one policy, I would like council's discussion on number one, the financial hardship policy. The basic financial hardship policy.
I guess this is just meant to be a basic description to our to the city staff as to how they would determine as to whether or not somebody's having financial hardship. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I mean, you could put more specific numbers, like income has to be below a certain dollar level or what have you, if you don't want to allow that discretion. But somebody could have had, someone may have a more expensive mortgage because they had a higher paying job and now they've lost their job. It's just as hard for them.
So actually, what you're talking about is guidelines. Is that guidelines instead of policy?
Well, the guidelines would be a
The policy for guidelines.
But you can do it either way you prefer as a council.
I think as a policy, it is a good thing that we follow.
But are we asking her to set a policy tonight, or are we asking
It
to
reads,
proceed with, and I don't know who the author of this one was.
I do not, because it doesn't state, it just says, consider and take any action necessary regarding establishing a extension hardship policy, establishing it.
Okay, that's, I think there is a need to establish a policy. I think that we need to collectively as a council look in great detail the criteria for that. I myself do not think food stamps fall under the criteria of being eligible for hardship. I mean, there are families who want food stamps continually. With all due respect to 65 and older, I'm passing the hardship. I don't think being 65 is an automatic criteria for being to hardship. I think it's something that we need to look at, but we need to really consider the components of it.
But if you read that, it says to include.
Okay.
It's one of the things to consider or to include, but not.
Well,
So that's my question.
Yeah, but now, wait a minute.
Are we-
It does state, other indications of hardship include, and it says, food stamps,
Yep. I guess what-
65 and older is, 65 and older is not an indication of hardship.
No.
I'd say it could include though.
It could be one of the criteria.
Right, so are we asking just to agree that, yes, we need to establish a policy and let legal counsel go back and do that and then start whittling it down from there, or?
I think it's impossible for us to come up with
Right.
something that'll say that this is what makes up a hardship. We need to give a
We can't
directive,
do it all.
like something like this, to the city management
Yes.
personnel, and say, when you go through it with them, you sort of see which ones apply, which ones don't apply, then you have to sort of determine that this person fits into a hardship case.
But you also need something in black and white for a person to know exactly what our financial hardship policy is. It's not, you can't say we've got this policy and then we'll see what we're gonna go by in this policy and what
Okay,
we're not.
Then, in that case, I would say there's probably an unlikelihood that we could come up with a guaranteed 100% policy that will
No.
describe to the people what exactly fits in as being.
Okay, is there more discussion regarding this?
Well, I would like to expand the definition of hardship, not only to include financial difficulties, but an excessive high water bill resulting from a pipe leak or a water pipe break, or a leak, or a change of rate structure creating a hardship like we recently created for our citizens.
Okay. I would like to suggest to council that this item be tabled and that we, as a unit, write down what you believe is the definition of a customer in hardship. Because we're not all going to agree on this. Once you have adopted a policy, then it becomes something that everybody has to go by. And you also have to have a policy in place so that the public will also know what you're going by. And this apparently is not acceptable at this time. So there needs to be some research and some study done to it. You will notice on the front that it also includes, but is not listed, the leak adjustment policy and the extension practice. We do not, this is not our leak adjustment policy that we have in place. is
No.
it? I know it isn't, we've had a leak.
Regarding the leak, I think if we give up to 6 months for the financial hardship, we should also include up to 6 months for the water breakage or leak policy, that it be
But
consistent.
these are suggestions
Yeah,
that
these are
we can
suggestions.
make to include in this
Mhm.
policy, but not as a policy tonight. And that this payment plan that we have here, what else? But we do have an extension policy that is already in force, that has been adopted. So.
Yeah, that's for up to 1 month, right?
So it is the one that's in here, yes, that I read to you. And it was also amended in April of 2013. So I think that what we need to do is that there needs to be more study on this, especially if we are going to adopt a policy, a financial hardship policy. I think the council needs to put more input into this, and it needs to be reviewed again.
I'll make a motion we table item number 10.
Is there a second?
I second.
Could this be included in the workshop, on water rates?
Right now, we have a motion, and then we can.
Well, I'd like to amend the motion. And
Well, we're going to table it, it can be put back on the
Yeah.
agenda. for
It
any-
can be
at any
put back
time.
on the
Yeah.
agenda at any time, because the motion is that we table it, and that it is, the motion has been made and seconded already. So it
But
can be
could-
put back on the
Yeah, could
agenda
it be-
at any time.
I second it, and I would also like to say that I think they should be kept separate when they come back before council. I think one should be a hardship policy, and I think one should be a leak policy. The leak policy will be set on, in effect, take care of the hardship of the leak of that, and it would be stipulated in that.
I disagree.
I think that's a good recommendation. It's not a part of the second, but I do
Yes,
think,
ma'am.
I think all three should do. Because if we are going to do that, we can also, there's nothing that says you cannot review the utility payment extension policy. At the moment, we do have a motion to table and a second. Is there any further discussion regarding tabling this item? All those in favor of tabling this item, please raise your hand. There are three opposed.
I'll say that, table
One.
it.
We have three, one,
I
abstain.
tabled.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. We have four. The motion is passed. Item number 10.
May I just make a quick comment for you all to think about when you're deciding what feedback you want to give for a policy? If the leak policy is separate, the one that was suggested now, it's not based on financial ability to pay. It's just based on you had a leak and you would like to get credit for that water.
Yes, it's
So
separate.
I just wanted to be sure, but now you could still have that separate and in the hardship policy, have something in there about leakage and
Yeah,
link it to.
that's
the
what I
ability
would
to
like
pay.
to do, is incorporate it.
The next item is item number 11, project update, Texas Water Development Board, Clean Water State Revolving Fund Project, Van Alstyne wastewater plant and system upgrades.
Mayor, we have Madison Johnson going to give us an update on the project.
These are our engineers.
Members of council and citizens, and Mayor, this is, what the information was provided in your packet was prepared by the GTUA personnel. And it's, actually, we prepared the schedule for the background and the schedule going forward. But the GTUA was gracious enough to provide a debt service schedule, which was a discussion point that was brought up at a previous meeting. And you'll notice that the sewer loan, which is the first item that we're discussing, is for a total of $1.73 million, or $1,730,000. And that is for the improvements at the wastewater plant and for upgrades to the collection system. And they projected that as a bond repayment schedule for 20 years. And those payments are relatively consistent. They range from about $123,000 to about $128,000 per year. Those payments are typically made biannually. You typically make those payments about every 6 months. And what they've shown is the annual amount that would be budgeted if you're going to repay those debts. And they've, you'll notice that they've kind of backloaded the principal. You can do that with bonds if you wish to. You can set them up kind of a lot of different ways. And I think part of the reason they did that was to account for the other loans that are potentially coming as well. But you'll do notice that it is, the first payment would be sometime late this year if this project goes forward as scheduled, as shown on the schedule. And so it would have to be budgeted in fiscal year 2015 for the first of the annual debt service payments. Many things have to happen before this project can happen. There has to be a bond ordinance prepared that the council would have to adopt and approve. There has to be an official statement prepared by the financial advisor. There has to be a review and an opinion by the Attorney General. And then it has to go through the Water Development Board for the instructions to go ahead and sell the bonds. The Water Development Board would then go ahead and sell the bonds on the city's behalf and then release the funding to the city for the project. In the sewer project, this funding does include for both the planning and design and for the construction. This was set up as one loan to do both. And so the construction funds would be available to the city as soon as the design is complete.
council have any questions regarding this?
Yes. I have a couple of questions. First of all, is this, now, it's talking both as a bond resolution with a bond sale and as a loan. Which is it?
The bonds represent a loan to the city, and it would be repaid from revenues, from water and sewer revenues.
Okay, now, if it's a bond, does that have to be voted by the citizens?
No, revenue bonds are not required to be voted on by the taxpayers or the citizens because it is not a tax-based payment. All the bond is, the repayment is based on water and sewer revenues. And so in accordance with law, there's not a required vote of the citizens.
Okay, so if it's going to come out of water revenues, then you're saying that we need to raise water rates again?
It would have to be up to the city how to budget it.
Typically, we come back to council, we look at what the project is, we modify the budget, work with Public Works to see what our projects would be, what this loan would, of course, what the loan's going to take care of, it's going to take off our plate. And then we approach council as far as what we plan to bring in as revenue, what we plan to expend. So this would be part of our debt that we would need to repay first.
So then we already have accrued over $1 million in the water department, and this will be another $1.7 million plus what's coming here, the two $2 million or whatever the other one is, $2,930,000. Where's it going to come from a population of 3,000 people?
We just had a
Port
presentation.
Alstyne, yeah?
Okay. If you'll let me finish, please. If you saw a presentation from Bladen, that's part of it. That is something unlike Caterpillar to where it's strictly on the property tax side. This is something that's going to bring in utility customers that are going to tap onto the system. We've also got development. D.R. Horton's continuing to build homes in Georgetown. We have other development interests coming. This is all in preparation for the taxing of the system moving forward and making needed repairs.
But right now it's pie in the sky, right?
No, ma'am, it's planning for the future. It's not pie in the sky.
But we plan for the future to put that water line in that we're paying for that we're not using. How do we know that we can meet the debt?
Because we have development coming forward from Melissa, Anna. It's all headed this way. We've been endorsed. We talked about this in the water workshops.
Yeah, but we also said we were going to be building more than 45 homes, and we're down to 12, one a month.
No, ma'am, we ended up here at 54 for the year, and we have 45 projected, which is a conservative estimate.
Is Martin doing it again?
This is the downtime. This is when they don't really build a whole lot. If you look at the home building statistics that were sent to you today from Helga Lofton, it shows historically this is when building tapers off. Of course, we had in December we had 5 home permits pulled, which typically we only have 1 or 2. So things are ramping up.
I haven't heard that Horton was not building anymore.
No, Horton's,
If we do this project I think this is for the, hooking up the lake water to us, right?
no, sir, this is the sewer side.
This is sewer
This is the
side.
sewer side. This is, they own the
This
sewer.
is
program.
sewer only,
This
right?
is sewer only. The water's on, the water's the next.
Water's
the next
something
issue.
else.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, I don't know how we can pay for it because we just don't have the funds now, and we've already committed over $1 million for equipment.
Okay.
Well, this, number 11 is a project update. Do you have any other comments? Council?
No?
Councilman Bowman? Any comments on the update?
Not on the update.
Councilman Clay? It says update.
Councilman Jennings? Councilman Smith?
I still pose the question, we're gonna, if we borrow that money, which it's understandable that we have to have expansion before we can grow, but we're going to add another $180,000 worth of expense to our sewer budget that will have to be paid for out of rates. Is that not a correct statement?
The bond payments would be required to be made, and I think City Manager alluded to a moment ago that typically that's the first revenue obligation that the city has.
But our increased expense will be approximately $180,000 a year. You said last time it was about 10% would be what the payment would be. So we're going to add $180,000 to the sewer expense.
Right, this debt service schedule shows those payments to be between about $123,000 and $128,000. So it is substantial.
So we're going to be adding to the expense that we have to cover with rates.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And we will go to number 12. Consider and take any action necessary regarding authorizing the city manager to award contracts for bond counsel, A, B, engineering firm, and C, financial advisor for construction improvements to the Alstyne water system, including facilities to connect to the CGMA water line if Texas Water Development Board financing is received for the project. And this will be presented by our engineers.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of council and staff and citizens, this project is a follow-up project. The City of Alstyne had submitted for water improvements through the Water Development Board under the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, which is the opposite fund of the Clean Water, which is for sewer. And initially, we're told that they didn't qualify based on the available funds. Since then, the state has found that there's additional funds available. The city had reapplied. The city, through the GTUA, applied for a different amount of money than was originally proposed in order for the city to go forward connecting to the CGMA water line so that the city could take advantage of the water that's available that they're paying for and not using. That project was put together as a different package. It was submitted to the state Water Development Board staff. The staff has determined that there is funding available for that project. However, the item that you have in front of you to approve the bond counsel engineering is required in order for them to proceed with the process. There's no financial commitment involved at this point. However, if this does go through, and there's information been provided here in your packet that shows a progressive schedule going forward. If it does, then that funding would become available for the design component sometime this summer. There would then be payments required beginning next year, next fiscal year, next budget year. The initial loan would be $585,000, or the initial debt would be $585,000, and those payments would again begin in fiscal year 15. So again, it would be in next year's budget if this project goes as scheduled. This project is to do everything necessary to connect to the pipeline, build a pump station, a blending facility, a storage tank, be able to put that water to the western side of the city. It will help you avoid having to build an elevated storage tank at this time on the west side of the city if development occurs over there. This will eliminate that. That fee was going to probably be well over $1 million, perhaps as much as $2 million. This project will eliminate the need for that initially. It will not have to be done for some period of time. The payments, as shown in the debt service schedule that you were provided, are for 10 years, which is the amount of time available for financing the planning and design. And they range from $64,000 per year to $68,000 per year would be the repayment on those loans.
That's on the $500,000?
That's on the design,
That's just on the
$585,000.
planning of it.
That's correct. What's also shown is if the schedule goes forward, the construction would take place sometime in early to mid-2015. And there's a separate debt service schedule shown, and those payments would begin lower in the $187,000 to $193,000 range, And you'll notice that the very last item, I believe, in your packet is a net debt service schedule, is what it's titled. And what GTUA has done for the city, and for me personally actually, is combine all of those debt payments if everything that's shown went forward. And what they've done is they've backloaded the payments for the construction loan, which is $2.9 million, in order to hold off on those payments until the design is actually paid for, and then that debt would roll off. And so the payments are reasonably stable. They're not exactly, but they range from about $365,000 to about $370,000. And that's the cumulative debt service of all of the loans, of all the debts that would be encumbered in order to build these projects. And again, this is designed to increase the ability to deliver water to your customers, to provide a reliable source of water supply. You won't be dependent on wells the way we have been in the past. This water supply is not likely to go down. The wells would still be a backup if it did, but it does promote and enhance the ability of Alstyne to continue providing water to your citizens as they continue to grow and as development continues to occur.
Okay, now the $68,000 a year for 10 years covers the planting stage.
Yes, the design.
So we pay that off, and then we start making the $183,000?
No, the construction payments would actually start in fiscal year 2015, but it would be like a half a payment that year because it's the loan wouldn't be taken out until 2015. And the payments on that would start out around 180-something thousand, but then they would drop later on, so that the total payment is about the same as time goes forward.
So, again, just so the public will know, in addition to the $128,000 that we have to plug in at increased rates to cover, we're going to have to plug in $68,000 on the water side to make that payment, and then we have $183,000 that we're going to have to make payments on, of some level somewhere.
Yes.
And all of those have to be paid out of rates, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, Councilman Smith, that's
So
correct.
rates have to go up, $300,000, $350,000.
Between, yes, sir, between about $365,000 and $375,000.
Okay. We need community input. Do you want us to make that commitment for you? Do you want us to incur that debt? I'm not saying that we shouldn't, because we have to have water before we can have residents.
Now,
But we need support from the community and knowledge so we know what we're getting into.
yes, sir, as I mentioned last time, some of this will be offset by the fact that you have $161,000 you're paying for water that you're not using. And that water will now be available to you, and you're already paying for it.
Right.
So this does not
But
reflect
we're
that.
still going to have to pay the 161. We're just not going to use as much well water. So our cost will be lowered, but not as much as the 161. We're still going to incur a substantial amount of debt for the city of Van Alstyne to provide water and sewer. Are the citizens willing to do that? In 2007 or 3, whenever it was that we voted for this water line, there was a plan for that also, and it stopped. This company made a promise, and there were lots of ifs on if they would get the approval, if they would get it built, if they'd get funded, if they'd get it full. There's lots of ifs, and I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. We just need to let the public know what we're doing. It needs to be on a billboard that we're looking at adding $350,000 worth of debt or expense to the water and sewer bill. So when the rates go up, be prepared for it.
Can I say there that your math being correct, but also rather than the offset of bringing that water to the system, we will also, as we begin to repair some of the issues that we have currently ongoing, like the loss of wells and things like that, our operational costs will also begin to come down. So there will be some offset in those operational areas also included in that 160.
There's a very good possibility that that's true, yes.
So the entire mechanism is not all rotate around rates being increased at a percentage. There's offsets in minimal areas. But, we're catastrophically losing wells. We have major leaks that need to be addressed. And do that, those costs, Mr. White told us last month, it was $40,000 you spent, sir, on one well. Yes. $48,000 on one well. We're incurring major damages at a very high cost. That what we were working at in the budget that we're currently in is to eliminate some of those costs will stop. When you're fighting deferred maintenance like Mr. White is fighting, and you start making progress there, the cost will come down. So the budget can be adjusted as you go into 2015, and that $300,000 there may not, very well will not be $300,000. We may be looking for $120,000.
Are we willing to give anything up that we currently have, such as equipment costs, to help defray these expenses?
That's what you need to, that's what the council will look at when you come into budget workshops in September this year. That, you know, do we take that step? And I like to, and I don't want to press for time, but a comment was made in the workshop, which some of you were at the workshop last week, is really good, and a comment was made, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Van Alstyne is at the bridge. I've been involved in 2 years of budget meetings, and you're at the bridge. It's plain and simple.
I think it would be helpful if we, this is discussion right now, but that we include the public and have another workshop to get input, to let them know what's going on, and let's get input from the community rather than us just making the plans, and give them plenty of notice this time that there's going to be a workshop.
Yes, ma'am. I agree, and I also agree that we need to do it in a positive manner and not sit here as a council, anyone on the council, and bring everything as all negative. It's not $368,000. There is offsets in that. They need to hear both sides, and workshops are fantastic. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
But it has been suggested that before we go any further regarding this, that there is an effort to make the public aware of what is going to be done, and that you have the backing of the public, which is something that could be done at a workshop. But the question right now is, do we take the necessary action to award the contracts for the things that are listed? A bond counsel, an engineering firm, and a financial advisor. This pertains to the water system, and you had said that there was money available. And this is not as an obligation.
Correct.
In itself. This is as a pursuit of the available money. So, I think what we're at with the council is, do we want to pursue the available money tonight? Or do we want to take this to a workshop, make sure that the public is aware of what is going on?
If we
So
vote
that
yes
is the
on this,
decision.
we're spending $500,000, right?
No, sir. No, sir, there is no financial commitment on behalf of the city until you get to the point where it's been approved as an item by the Water Development Board and returned to the city and ask the city if they wish to go forward at that point. That's where we are with the sewer loan right now. We're at the point where the city is faced with a decision. If you go forward, now's the time you're committing that you're going to take on that debt obligation. At this point with the water, we're just simply in the process of working through the application process.
Well, when you award a contract, is that not?
It's authorization to award a contract at the appropriate time. There would not be a contract awarded today.
Contracts.
But it is
It says to
required.
award contracts
Yes,
for.
right.
It's the authorization to award a contract if the funding becomes available. The funding's not available until the Water Development Board approves it.
And would have until April.
The bond counsel and the engineering firm and the financial advisors are not going to make any money if it doesn't.
No, so this is similar to the discussion we had when the sewer fund came through, back when Mr. Chapman was here. There is no, the engineering firm or the bond counsel and the financial management are handled by GTUA. The city will pick the engineering firm. There is no obligation for that at this point until you get word from the Water Development Board.
So all of those are just
This is procedurals to tell the Water Development Board that the city of Van Alstyne is interested in proceeding with the procedures to get the
If the
loan.
loan's approved, what we're doing tonight will cost us. That's when it'll cost us. to have
The loan will not be approved without further council action,
Right.
beyond this.
But if we approve this tonight, and the loan's approved, what we're approving tonight will cost us $500,000.
No, sir. If you approve this tonight, you've met the requirements of the procedure to go forward with consideration for the bond sale. For the bond sale to happen, the Water Development Board has to put on their agenda, has to approve the city of Van Alstyne through GTUA to be eligible to apply for that loan. At that point, that's when the city will make a decision, are we ready to go forward with the application for the loan?
So what we're, and then that's when
you would be headed down the road of being obligated to repay.
It says here April of 2014, at this point Van Alstyne is then committed and going forward with the process. But I just want to make sure we're not spending other people's money and then run out of it.
We're not doing any design.
Maggie Thatcher. I would, Madam Mayor, I would like to also, when we have our workshop, I would like to have a listing of what our per capita debt is today for each individual citizen of Van Alstyne, based on bonds and loans that we have made, or that we have committed to as a council. The total, our debt per capita for loans and bonds.
I don't mind moving forward with this step. I just.
Is there any other discussion regarding item number 12? From council, from anyone on the council? Then at this time, is there a motion or action that anyone would like to make?
I make a motion that we authorize the city manager to move forward with contracts.
All three?
Yes. All three.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second that the city manager move ahead to award the 3 contracts. I assume that's when it becomes.
You're saying to solicit and select an engineer, bond counsel, financial advisor for the project. Is that what this motion is?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not 3, it's authorizing the city manager to solicit and select engineer,
Award
bond
contracts.
counsel, financial. It's not 3 contracts, is it?
To
Yes.
award contracts.
Okay.
3 contracts is what the motion is. The city manager to award contracts for bond counsel, engineering firm, and financial advisor. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All of those in favor, please raise your hand. Let's see. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We have 4 for the against. 4 for, 1 against. Motion passed. Item number 13. We are going to make it slow. By the skin of our teeth. Not an agenda though. Discussion regarding utility rates established by ordinance number 699. Mr. Bramer, we would like to hear your presentation. You have 3 minutes. At this time, though, I do want you to know that there was, on number 13, 3 separate spreadsheets done. And this were recommendations from the council on the different rates and the comparison table that they have also. You have brought such, I believe.
Yes, ma'am. I did, Glenn and I have a proposal here, or a review we got from City Hall there, the 4 proposal changes for the city rates, and we took a look at it, and we'll start with that first page. Made some minor adjustments as we saw as perceived errors in the rate adjustment. Basically, consistent across all 4 proposals in that early range, that 10 to 20,000 gallon usage was calculated incorrectly, and it inaccurately inflated the costs for that particular condition, which shows a little bit of a decrease. And then on the first proposal there, where it shows decreases in the percentage increase towards the upper realm of 25 to 40,000 gallon usage. It's highlighted, it was just that actually is corrected lower, and instead of being negative increases, they're actually significant positive increases. That's because they were comparing the wrong values. They were comparing 25,000 to 30,000 usage and so forth. But anyways, coming on down there, basically through those proposals that you see in the yellow and green, the bottom line is from the corrected proposals on each one of those, going back to September 1st of 2012, prior to the 2 consecutive pay increases. Basically, you get anywhere from a 24% increase on the low side and usage up to 134% rate increase. So that's a significant increases, and that's over a 13-month period. There are some charts that go further back there that I wanted to kind of point out. They're not as bad as how consistently is the work in North Texas. Okay, and part of that is due to their sewer charges that they have to pass on for passing on up to Sherman. But we follow right along. You'll see on the first one, the North Texas rate comparison. Van Alstyne in the present rate structure, especially as you move to the higher usage chart, we're to the great extreme as far as our charges go. The biggest driver in that, if you'll see, is the water and the sewage in each one of these cases. And the first ones are the 5/8 and 3/4 inch meters. The big charges are the sewer rate, because most of North Texas, as I mentioned earlier, as well as nationally, they cap sewer rates, as we used to do. Because basically, anything over of about, really a house average of about 7,500 gallons a month doesn't go to sewage. It's irrigation as normal. So they usually use multiple methods, like a 3-month winter average, or they cap it at anywhere from 9 to 12 locally in this northern region of Texas. And they say, hey, okay, that's enough. Everything else is irrigation. Well, we stop that. So we end up getting a rate increase plus the sewage cap release, which really was a huge dramatic effect. We also show some later charts here because it's often referenced in City Hall. Well, North Texas is on different systems. Let's use just Anna Howe, Melissa, and Van Alstyne. So we just do a comparison, and later ones it says the 4 cities and 4 new rate proposals. So it takes the 4 cities, our current one, and the new rate proposals that the city council has in the workshop, and it goes through and takes a look at those. I'll leave those for you to review. We also drive back real quick at the end here. Since most of the focus is rate changes on the typical residential pipe size of the 5/8 and 3/4, if you go into upper pipe sizes, 2 inch and up, Van Alstyne is way high on their rates, especially in those. And the biggest factor is if you start looking at, if you look at that first one, cost comparison of combined residential water and sewer charges for a 2-inch meter. Our costs went up. Our base rate, no water usage now at 5,000 gallons is over $500. That's and it gets worse than that. And you can look at the lines from there, and that's basically our base rate, and that's a monthly charge. So I just want to point out that we really need to look back into what our cost structure is, why are costs so high that cause these rates, and what are the other cities doing? Are we asking help from other cities? Are we looking at the plans? But basically, we're really, really out of line in North Texas on our water usage rates and sewer. So, and I would recommend that it look back, going back to a cap, even though it may cause some problems. But the sewage rate is really, really driving the whole cost up greatly. Any questions?
Does anyone on council have questions of Mr. Kramer?
If, I would add that we have spreadsheets and we can very, very quickly adjust off our spreadsheets any pipe size and any increments if you want to take a look at any other data. So it's very, very flexible.
I think that would be very good to bring to our next water workshop.
We would be more than happy to see that. Thank you.
How do we get in touch with you?
Actually, the City Hall has my number and my email address as well as my brother's.
We have where we send the water bill.
They did find you.
We have Tiffany Clark. Would you like to defer to the next workshop?
Yes.
Thank you very much. What we have tonight is a dilemma. I have to apologize to everyone here. The dilemma that we have is that we only have this room until 9 o'clock. We're already going over. We went over at our workshop, which got us into a problem, and it was scheduled back here again tonight, even though we have a 2-month agenda. Tonight, I would like to propose to the council that we stop here because we are already past 9 o'clock at number 13, and that we not only schedule a continuation of this agenda and anything that may have come up, and afterwards, that we go into a workshop for the water, and that it not be here, but at the high school where they have the, wherever one. Oh, for the school board, we would have it at the same location where the school board meets and have it next week. That way we do not have a deadline, we do not have to leave the building, we do not have to leave people who are very interested and who have waited for 2 months to get on their agenda. But we do have to leave this building. Did you have a question, sir?
Well, I was just going to say that with regard to item number 14, which is just the approval of the replat, I was wondering, since that really is not unless there is some controversy in it, if it's an item that might be able to be approved, it's not related to sort of a public discussion or a community discussion.
If it's if a plat or a replat is not denied or disapproved within 30 days of it being presented to the city, then it's deemed
automatic?
It's deemed automatically approved.
How long has it been?
More than 30 days.
It has already been automatically approved?
It was scheduled to be on the December agenda.
So, are we to assume that this item is not needed, in that it is automatically approved?
We can give the appropriate written statement that it's approved and have it signed.
If that be the case, that's terrific.
Now we know.
We enjoyed the meeting.
At this time, due to circumstances beyond my control, I would like a motion that we adjourn this meeting, that we we have a city council meeting next week. That would be followed by a workshop.
Does it have to be next week? Because I am committed every third Tuesday.
It does not even have to be on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Because Tuesday is our regular meeting. This is a continuation with an addition, and because there is no way that we can continue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We will let you know.
I think so.
Hopefully, but
What's the date?
before the leader goes out this week, because we want everyone to know that there would be a water workshop. Please come back, and we will finish the items on the agenda with the addition of one.
Madam
May I
Mayor,
have a
If you
motion?
don't mind, I'll say quickly about the location where you want to have this
Yes.
continuation. That is not a very large room. And if it was this crowd, it would be tight.
I have suggested that we have our meetings at the Sanford Center or other places here in town, because all of our churches have large areas and activity centers. Mr. Baker has informed me that they all have games that they're playing in their activity center, basketball games and such, and that.
The Baptist church has the portable buildings behind them
Mhm.
that are at least, they don't use them every night. And you probably check with them and find out.
And Mr.
You're telling the Church of Christ building is open and has nice comfortable chairs. We're willing to open up the city to use it anytime.
Yeah, that'd be a good place to
Can we set up in this fashion, Jim?
Yes, sir, we sure can.
Okay.
There are tables.
No, I won't preach, I'll just sit back and just be quiet.
And not take up a collection, huh?
Can we turn the heat up when we get there?
Could have got someone to pay that water bill.
Right.
Okay.
The 20th is Martin Luther King's birthday.
Wait just a minute before you make that motion. Could I poll the council to see if there is any reason why we cannot already set up this, we have the 72 hours. Can we not already set this up for Monday,
The 20th?
the 20th, at the Alstyne Church of Christ building? Is there any reason, is there any reason you cannot attend on Monday?
No, there's no reason why I cannot attend. It's Martin Luther King's birthday observed, though, just to be.
It is a holiday, and some people are not working.
And
Schools are closed.
And the school, well, we rarely have school students at the.
Right.
They have to go the
Well,
next day.
maybe facilities would be
The baby one.
a larger facility.
Well, the church would be
To me,
open.
the churches
Church
would
is
be, have more people when school is out than when it is going. Is there an objection from council that we schedule it for Monday?
That's fine.
Fine. Okay, Monday is,
I couldn't do Monday, I'd have to rearrange my schedule to do it. I don't know. I take advantage of those holidays. Quit my kids and we got pretty good. I don't know if I get back tonight.
well, Monday is the only day next week, and we do need to finish our agenda. Is there any way that you could be back by 6:30 Monday night?
I just have, it is going to be difficult.
And you're not coming back on Tuesday? Even if we have a later meeting at 7?
I just need to get with, I need to find out. I couldn't give you
Okay.
an answer right now.
Then, if it is at all possible, we will try to schedule a meeting followed by a water workshop Monday at 7 at the Church of Christ building. We will strive very hard to get back with Mr. Russell to see that he is available so that we can get this in the leader at last minute, save a blank agenda item for us to be there, not the agenda, but to schedule, I'm sorry, because he does work with us very well. So at this time, I will take a motion that we
Hold on, are you saying that continue the
this
meeting and then follow that meeting
with a workshop, because these
Same night.
items that are on this agenda have been on here for over a month.
No, I'm not
It's
arguing.
time
I'm just
that,
wondering
yes,
about the workshop.
if I think that we can take time to listen to people for the workshop. These are not long agenda items. It's just that we do have the time deadline.
I'm just concerned of having an effective workshop after.
We can have more than one water workshop.
Oh, I know.
So, but that is my recommendation. Is there a motion to that
Make a
effect?
motion to adjourn.
Did you
Yeah,
make that motion?
I move that we,
I have a motion.
oh, I thought he said to adjourn.
We can't vote on anything, we have to adjourn, and the consensus is we'll have a meeting scheduled.
No. The mayor was asking that we approve her motion, or her suggestion that we have the workshop
And continuous of the-
continue this next Monday, the 20th, at the
With
church.
any necessary
Okay,
additions.
that'll be the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Not sure.
Put your hand up. Julie?
It'll be posted as a new,
A
brand
new
new
agenda, yes.
agenda. It'll be a new meeting. It won't be.
And
The
it's-
continuation, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing that applies to them, does it apply to other items that have been on there for 3 or 4 months?
Yes.
No, it's just class, specific class.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. No, we haven't got to the adjourn. Oh, do I have a motion that we adjourn? Okay, second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Did you raise your hand?
I wrote it, yes.
Then I declare this meeting adjourned 9:13, and we are late.